I guess let's go ahead and give Jeff a chance here. As a theist, so we got Jeff from Ohio, and wants to talk about. He says he thinks he can verify that we ourselves are the Trinity. Jeff, you are on with Jesus Christ and myself, and yeah, what you got for us?
Hi, Jmike, JC.
Hey,
Thanks for
Jeff.
taking my call.
Of course.
Yeah, well, I suppose I had to start by thanking JC for being willing to be the best arbitrator I've ever found between mind and body. Frankly, I don't have any reason to trust either one, and you got to have an arbitrator so that the two can at least attempt to get on the same page.
I think both of us probably need a little bit more to unpack there.
You're going to need some more.
I'm like a middleman of sorts between.
Understood. Well, can we agree the mind can't be trusted? Or that the body cannot be trusted? That they seem to be entities of their own, and they kind of call the shots. We offer them suggestions, but at the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to.
I'm not sure I'm tracking. Two things there. One, mind-body distinction, a physicalist would just disagree with that. And then secondly, like, what?
Well, let's just start with the mind. The simple question is, can it be trusted to offer anything? What do you guys like to talk about well-being? I mean, does the mind offer anything that even remotely will help us out with the problem of well-being as far as the mind is concerned?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I don't find that my mind really helps me out as far as well-being. That's why I'm constantly looking for an arbitrator, because it doesn't agree with the body. Those two don't even get along very well.
Jeff, what are you using to? Jeff, what do you have to use for the arbitrator?
Well, you got to do something that'll either silence or block.
Yeah, but if you've already set this premise that your mind fails, and you're using your intentional states, your mental states, to determine the arbiter, isn't that flawed on parity of your own reasoning?
Well, no, not really. Not really.
Okay, so you're not using mind or body, the things that you disagree with, to come to the arbiter of Jesus?
I wouldn't have to. I mean, I could use sex, drugs, rock and roll, making money, doing what I ever have to try to silence the voice of the mind that just refuses to cooperate with me. It doesn't offer me well-being. It doesn't offer any satisfaction. But frankly, I've tried all those other arbiters.
Okay, and
they all failed.
I don't want to take the. I don't.
Is that making any sense?
I'm trying to track through it. Maybe Jesus. I mean, he's shaking his head no. So maybe Jesus can.
I'm a little in the dark here too. It sounds like what you're trying to say is that maybe the mind or consciousness maybe is separate than the body, and that I am somehow the one that kind of decides to shut off which of the two when I think it best serves you. Am I understanding that correctly?
You're the one that, well, you would be the one who would make sense of the two.
I can tell you this, I'm not doing that. That's not the case. I think the mind and the body are the same, or one and the same. And yeah, our perceptions can fail us. Our ideas could fail us. I mean, there's many things that we should have to filter. Yes, I think you're kind of getting that way, but I'm trying to understand how I come into this.
Well, I'm seeing a third voice here, because if we were actually in control of those two, let's call them systems, I think we would prefer that the body be comfortable. And I think we would prefer that the mind would be sound, that it wouldn't be our enemy. But we're finding that that's not the case. We're finding that those two are both, well, essentially, they oppose us. They are not our friends. They do not cooperate with anything that I would construe as, well-being. They just don't do that. And I got some trillion-dollar pharmaceutical companies who agree with me.
Yeah, but you're talking, okay, look, those are accounted for on a molecular level, right? And predictions that have been generated on a molecular level. I don't know what it is you're positing as some other category. It just sounds like a confusion of the categories you're looking at already.
Possibly. All I know is, like you say, we do have this internal voice, and it's not of our doing because it's involuntary.
Why is it not of our doing? What do you mean?
Because we can't silence it. Well,
okay.
Because if we had control of it, we would silence it, and we can't do that.
Okay, and so what does that lead you to exactly? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Got to have an arbitrator. Leads me to JC right there.
Awesome. Hold on. Let's stop right there. Hold on, Jeff. Stop right there. Okay, you have to have an arbitrator. Okay. But isn't the thing prompting what you think is the right arbiter the thing that you're saying is not reliable?
I've tried like I said before, I've tried other arbitrators.
No. You're not. Not other arbiters. The mechanism at which you think is faulty, is it or is it not the thing that is determining what the right arbiter is? I don't care what the arbiter is. I don't care if it's Jesus or Allah. I'm saying, isn't it the same exact thing that you are undermining that now for some reason provides like good evidence for the arbiter?
Well, there may not be any arbitrators. Yeah, there may not be any effective arbitrators. I'm just.
My point is that how would you break free from having to rely upon the thing at which you think is ultimately in error, right? If you ultimately think this thing is in error, mental, right? Then how are you assessing an arbiter?
Break free. Yeah, we don't break free. We have to make sense of it. In some way, shape, or form, we have to make sense of mind and body. As it stands, like you say, they don't make sense, and they don't do what
Okay, so just look, Jeff. This is really simple, and then I'm gonna move on. Because all you're saying, this whole thing summed up is, I don't understand X, therefore it has to be Y, which is personal incredulity, right? That's fine. That's your personal incredulity. The actual like novel predictions that are being used in neuroscience or physics just don't care about people's personal incredulity. So like I would just keep that in mind, I guess, because like I don't know why, like one, I don't know that I don't really understand A to B to C, but then I also don't understand like why, because you're confused on A, that it couldn't be, it couldn't be explained, and therefore you've come up with it, which is mind-boggling to me, because the thing that you're saying is an error is the thing you have to use to come up with this whole thing to fix it. So I'm not understanding.
Yeah, that's the additional voice I was talking about. Thus, I think we are a type of Trinity. So it's there's got to be another voice in there. Well, let me ask you directly: do you trust your mind? Do you trust yours? And I mean with everything. To tell you the truth, to offer soundness.
There's two ways to cash that.
When you don't want it to be.
Yeah, there's two ways to cash that out. There's two ways to cash that out. Do I trust like things that I think that might be true? Sometimes I don't. If I was confident and I'm just wrong about it. But do I trust my what my mental states could do? Or yes, I mean I'm forced to. I don't know how that follows. Where hold on. So in the absence of trust there, in the absence of trust there, where how does Jesus solve the answer?
Okay.
Are you
asking me that question? Are you asking me that? Because you got Jesus sitting right there. You got Jesus sitting right there.
Fair enough. I'm just curious on, you're saying that you've determined this third category being Jesus, right? Or this arbiter, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't even want to go to the part. Hold on. No. I don't even want to go to the part about like wondering why it solves it yet, because I'm still stuck on this idea that you have to use your mind to determine the arbiter, which is the thing that you think's an error. It's like it wouldn't matter what thing you chose.
Don't have to use the mind. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to use your mind. Like I say, I'm saying there's got to be there's another voice out there that's outside of our mind. It's doing things
just personal incredulity. Like if it's just not the case and you don't understand neuroscience well, or what your presentation of experiences doesn't match on to how how things are actually working, then you're just wrong, right? And so I don't know why you're attached to like it can't be this thing, it must be this other thing. That's just personal incredulity. It's literally just saying
it's there, and based on the fact that if we were in control, this creature, like I say, the body would cooperate and the mind would maintain a soundness. But
how do you demonstrate that? How do you demonstrate that, Jeff?
Pharmaceutical companies that are trillionaires trying to.
I'm not asking for a false analogy. I'm asking you how you demonstrate your claim.
Well, just the fact that even in my own existence, I can see where my body it does not.
No, I'm not saying for you. I'm saying how do you demonstrate that, right? If this is an objective fact of the world we all share, how do you demonstrate it?
Oh, like I say, pharmaceutical companies that are trillionaires.
I'm going to get frustrated and just move on to another caller. Don't give me an analogy. That's. I
apologize.
I'm not analogous
here.
How do you demonstrate your actual claim? Pharmaceutical companies don't demonstrate your claim of Jesus in any way. You have to demonstrate your claim.
The effectiveness of my arbitrator?
How do you demonstrate that is actually a thing in the world as the arbitrator? That would serve as a thing there. How do you demonstrate that?
Oh, you can't demonstrate that.
Okay, so why do you believe it?
You'd have to.
Jeff, you just said you can't demonstrate it. So then why do you believe it?
Yeah, you can't.
Okay, so why do you believe it?
Right, everything else. Well, because it does offer a type of soundness that allows me to go outside mind and body. It allows me to oppose those two without attacking myself.
Okay, I think dualism is true, and that helps me. So now how do we arbitrate who's right? I think dualism solves that issue. I didn't need God for it. So, right, like
dualism, real quick.
Dualism is depending on which thing you take, just mind and body is distinct, right? And my point is to parody it and say I think dualism is true, and dualism doesn't entail you have to be a theist. And so if I take dualism to be true, and that solves that. Right. And if say I can't demonstrate it, but you can't demonstrate it, what have we highlighted? We've highlighted pragmatic, like utility, like a methodological utility on something, not actual epistemic justification for the claim. And this isn't just something we can just make ourselves feel like warm and fuzzy because it solves something. Like people are legitimately having a hard time in their faith. People are legitimately being chastised through people of the faith. People's rights are being imposed through the faith. So it's not just like attached to this little warm fuzzy of it makes me feel good and the personal incredulity will serve me well, but in virtue of everybody else, that's going to suck for them. No, I take it a little bit more seriously than to say I have some methodological utility in just my personal incredulity. I care about why something would be true or not.
It's just a simple matter, really, in the practice, is to oppose.
If it's simple, then you'd be able to demonstrate it.
You live in opposition to those. That'll give you everything you need to know, because it'll set your mind exactly what should be focused on, what actually is important, what is actually real and true, what's falsifiable. I mean, all of that's contained in the opposition to the mind and the body. Oppose the two, and it'll come to the surface.
Look, you said you can't demonstrate it. You said you couldn't demonstrate it, which entails there's no falsification criterion. So I don't know why we would weed into that. I'm going to move on to other callers. But Jesus is I don't want to speak all over Jesus here, so I want to, yeah.
You want to say any? Does he have another for me or something?
Yeah, I mean,
Jeff, I just want you to know that I love you. And even though you and I may not necessarily see eye to eye on things, I still love you, and you don't disappoint me nearly as much as like pretty much everyone else. So thanks for calling in.
Oh.
That was an interesting discussion.
All right. Well, thanks for taking my
Stay
call.
blessed.
You guys are awesome. I watch you all the time.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Hopefully it wasn't too hard on you, but yeah,
Oh, no, you're fine.
I'm just not concerned with what makes someone feel good if they are saying they can't demonstrate it. And so for me, it's just, I think that, right, what are the steps, like the earlier call, what are the steps that we can kind of take, towards having more people kind of take this seriously or get to whatever other side, right? For me, right, it's to not allow people to make arguments for utility or because it makes them feel good, and to show that avoids the actual issue, and that will cause the problems.